Okay. Hey, King of Crypto. Thanks, of course, for the raid. This is awesome. Yeah, this is cool. I mean, I think that. No, hold on. I'm hearing myself back at me. I forgot to mute. Give me a second. Okay, there we go. Trying to time everything with the lag and all. But I figured I would go ahead and stream a little bit of my demo area that I've been working on here. Um, like a lot of different artists, we're all looking to showcase what we've been doing. And when and I'd highly advise anyone who wants to start selling in the marketplace to start doing this too, because all these different assets are ones that I've created for the creator fund that aren't necessarily for sale yet. Um, and even when they are, it'd be nice to actually try them before you buy them. After all, and so I realized this when my first asset, this arcade game right here. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Okay, when this arcade um, went on sale, I was kind of like, hey, it would be neat if people could actually see what it does and such. Um, and then you can see here what I'm doing. I'm just having a little fun with my area here because I want to make it so I can launch things off of this, and hopefully, eventually, what it'll do, it'll destroy whatever's down there, or will cause damage to the entities, just because why not? And see, these are my different assets, and this is here's arcade. Oh, it's not even on right now. I gotta turn that guy on, don't I? And let me know too in the chat if I'm too low in terms of volume or anything like that. Still kind of fine tuning everything. I used to stream a little bit more of a lot of first person shooters actually, but then I just haven't for a while. And this is my basketball area. So this is the my sports sort of demo zone for this company that I'm working with. They're called Collectic Sports Collectibles there, as you can see. And then one of the athletes we're representing is Mark Price, and he's a two-time three-point contest champion for the NBA All Stars. And so now that we can actually um, publish our different assets, let me see if I can do anything about that. Give me a second with the volume. But yeah, now that we can actually publish this, I actually did have a three-point contest. Contest sort of game that I was working on for one of the game jams, but just didn't make it in time. I think that there was just too many entries that time or something, if I'm not mistaken, and it was like the queue was obscenely long, and and so yeah, like there was louder still. Okay, all right, or do we good? We good now, or louder? Let me know. Okay, great. Um, and and yeah, so there's a pretty fun three-point contest that I made for that guy, and so now I'm pretty happy that I'll get a chance to actually publish that, because there was the countdown timer for each different position. For those not entirely familiar with the NBA three-point contest, um, preview volume. Okay, where is my preview volume on my manager? So I'm still getting some kind of feedback. Then is that what's going on, or getting some kind of echo? Let me see. Wait now in the chat. Wait now in the chat. But yeah, definitely still tweaking everything. Okay, let me see what I can do here. Okay, make sure I have everything off. So I am using OBS, and usually it's pretty good about capturing the right things at the right time. But I did kind of go live sort of hot here with right off the stream, so I'm not sure if I left anything else on. Like in the beginning, I was definitely getting that bad echo. Give me a second here. Okay, let me do that. This guy's down. Okay. Huh. Wonder if it might just be my mic acting kind of funny. Let me see. Okay. Okay. But yeah, so let me know. Any weirdness comes up. It says still tweaking everything. let's see. Let's look at the arcade guy because I went and turned that on. Didn't do anything. Okay, now here we go. Now we can actually see this guy in action. Um, and of course, you can see I'm sporting my Blaze Games tentacle spear. Um, this thing, I saw all of his other swords, and I'm like, well, the saber, Blaze saber is cool, and this and that. And I saw how this thing moved. I'm like, whoa, this tentacle spear is vastly underappreciated. It's a very neat animation. Anyways, my little side note about that. Um, but yeah, and then got some of this. This is some of the armor and outfits that I've made before too. I don't think they're equipable right now. I think they're just. I haven't even turned that on yet. Um, and now this treasure chest, right? Okay, this was for a pirate theme, and the pirate theme has already kind of come and gone, so it's not like any beans are being spilled here. But I'm just like, okay, well, I need a pirate chest, so I did this pirate chest, and this thing is gonna be epic. And I'm like, whoa, like really? Only 20 copies, huh? Like we don't get to dictate that. We kind of have to we have to go with the flow there. Um, so that thing's gonna be kind of rare, apparently. That treasure chest there. Um, this is some of the other summer things. Once again, the pirate theme. Here's my little pirate sign. This was showcased on one of the showcases before for that theme, and then of course the fort. We had to do different pirate things. This is one of those things. This is one of the earlier assets that I was working on, and so I wish I would have known a couple of different things. I wish I would have known to place these guys just a little bit different, so you can kind of do that little sort of like skip up, a little easier. I was able to do it there, but it was kind of inconsistent. And then while I'm working here, I didn't want to have to keep doing that, so that's why I just put that in there so I can run up and do this. And you can see like how I'm sure a lot of those who have built in Game Maker, you know, you end up moving your spawn points all over the place. So I was working on this last, and so question in the chat. I guess I gotta pipe that feed on my screen too, don't I? Do we get a commission or copy sold? Actually, what happens is it's exactly like what the UGC is supposed to be like. So basically like how the arcade game down there, when that sells, I get pretty much the whole thing, like because they add on the 5% tax on it. So I believe the base price is 20. That's another 1 sand for the tax part. So you can get this guy for 21 sand. And so what I end up seeing I end up seeing that 20 sand. And they keep the 1. And so that's pretty much going to be the deal on everything. And the part of that's different, though, you can say, is that we do get a little bit of dough in the form of sand, obviously, for creating these assets each month, and that varies depending on the asset and what's going on and what's involved with it. And generally speaking, that rate is kind of like your average going rate of what some of these assets would be in the market. You know what I mean? So it could be anywhere from like 10 to, I'd say, like, under 100, let's say. But once again, it's not so much like the upfront money that's really the great part about this. Although, like how when sand jumped up, that definitely helped. but really, it's when things get into the marketplace. So like this. So like now that this guy is in the market, I think I think it's 200 of them have been minted, and they're all going at 20 sand each. So if sand's around $3-ish, shall we say? I know it's a little under right now. It kind of gives you an idea of what that entire inventory is worth, and that's really what's enticing to me. And I think that's what should really sound enticing to a lot of the different artists out there in general, because you have this inventory that's worth many thousands. How did I animate the video screen? Okay, what's going on there is that yeah, exactly. so Max did the math on that, and he's like, wait a minute, and like, yeah, no, it's that high. And so you can see all these different assets, right? Yes, there's many thousands of dollars worth of inventory here that I can't wait to sell. But back to the how did I do the screen? Okay, the screen itself is one asset or one entity, and so then every single motion is a different stage in the animation. I can actually even show this in the game in the excuse me, Voxedit, so you can get an idea. And then so as the animation progresses, it's swapping out each screen. Um, and like I was mentioning with Max the other day, if I had enough time, I was gonna make this like playable, because if theoretically, I know we all know those little switches. Um, you can set up enough little switches to where you probably could make this like a playable Space Invaders game. But in the interest of time, with the creator fun stuff, it's every month, and we have certain. It's not like the last day of the month can you kind of shove things in to be approved. It's like it has to be done before the end of the month, things like that. So I wanted to make sure that I was budgeting enough time to get that in. I'm glad I did though. And that's what I don't know if there's any other creator funders out there, or if any of you guys end up being on there yourself. One thing that I've noticed, I like to get the stuff that has the least amount of animations done first, and then the stuff that has the more animations do it towards the later end. It just works out better that way. Um, this is actually one of the first things that I was tasked on, 'cause I'm sure those who maybe went through the process or looked into it, there's certain things they have you do, and one of them is like a desk, and so this was one of the desk I did, um, which is my chemistry desk, um, and this is a fun one. And yeah, I was like, ooh, I want to make sure I do a good job, so I spent a lot of time on the animation of the little looping, you know, um, distillation thing going on there, and why not? We're gonna add the kinetic balls there on the on there just to make it a little more difficult. So it's kind of funny. I'm just looking at this now, going back, and seeing like, yeah, I don't think I would make as many auxiliary animations if I had to do this again. So, um, and then we got this is the armor. Actually, I call this the armor of Atlan. For those unfamiliar with that term, Aslan, it's a term for essentially like the Native Americas in the western side, the western North America, basically. And it's not like a real place. It's always been kind of a cultural sort of folklore about the spirit, you can say, of the region. And so it's a mix of obviously a lot of Northern American Aztec kind of style, and this was for one of the other themes that they had us do. I think it was just for an outfit of some kind, if I'm not mistaken, one of the older ones as well. Then of course this is my sci-fi deco building. Tasked to make a building, so I made a building. And I made it in this theme of this guy, because I noticed this door was popping up in a lot of people's drafts, and I'm like, wow, this is cool. And this is gonna be kind of an expensive door. Um, so I'm just like, wow, okay, this is gonna be an epic item. So I'm gonna make one that's maybe kind of similar, but probably won't be epic. And so this is the sci-fi deco art door number 2. so so this one should be not as much as this one, just for everyone in the audience there. And then too, I wanted to make another sci-fi deco concept that was a little bit more colorful. Um, and yeah, so this is my door section for now. Then here's my deco statue, and this one I intentionally made kind of creepy. I can't tell if the animation's on right now. Okay, I think it might just be on one side, but these eyes will scan back and forth. So theoretically, and it does have left, right, center. So theoretically, you can make it to where you can have it track you even more blatantly by using like your speakers and detectors. Why isn't this guy moving? We'll have to make him move. We'll come back and visit that one. So as you can see, this is all very rough. I really hadn't had a chance to spend a whole bunch of time on it. But I'm gonna make some fun stuff with the assets too, and that's kind of where you saw like the basketball launcher. It's gonna shoot stuff down there, um, and let me show you some of these guys over here now too. I just realized there's this whole side. Turn that lamp on too, and then this is my wall fish tank, one of the earlier ones too. than the one block I've been tasked to make so far. All right, Mr. Winning, thanks for hanging out for a little while there. No, it's early or late or whatever. So, um, but yeah, yeah, thanks too. And I know and Mr. Winning and I are gonna be doing some streams together just because we can. And like we were saying, well, keep it fun, keep it casual. As we see, there's always part of the community who's looking for some information, and we're all up at all different times of night, being international and all. Man, here's my Shiba Inu floaty. This is for a summer theme. Hoping some of the Shiba fans will dig that one. And then we were asked to make one of the factions, like something for one of the factions, and this was my entry into that. This is scientist faction door, kind of fun. Cool. Yeah, we will definitely do something together here shortly, Mr. Winning. I'm sure it'll be fun. We'll we're both kind of trying to get our tech all nice and tuned. And so this is fun. That's pretty fun too. Like, I totally want to integrate some of the different games and such. And oh yeah, here you go, Maddox. This is here's the Hat Man. So he looks a little darker in person. So and actually I was gonna do this guy even darker, but I was told that, not too dark. And I'm like, okay, fine. So there is a palette that we're supposed to kind of adhere to. And actually, if those who are curious, that palette is the one in the templates. So if you open like one of the templates and you see everything's all full, that's the official palette for the Sandbox colors. So for the most part in the Creator Fund, we have to stick to that. Which is plenty, really. There's quite a bit of color on there. And this guy is kind of homage to Image Comics and the Max. I don't know who might be fans of the Max, but obviously we weren't supposed to copy anything directly. We could do something completely original, or we can parody. And so he's kind of an obscure, yeah, these are all technically Creator Fund items. The stuff for the sports stuff, that's from a Game Jam entry. But all this stuff on this sort of building thing that I've made here is part of the Creator Fund. So this guy here is definitely Creator Fund. This is oh my god, I forget. I think his name is Dracon the Destroyer. He's my reptilian alien, of course. And I actually do have a little gray alien, but for some reason it hasn't gone through the rest of the approval process yet. Sometimes like some assets get stuck. It's almost kind of like they get backed up. So I have a couple of backed up assets that aren't ready yet. This is Lucky the cat. He has a little clover collar. He's Lucky the black cat. This is my Man in Black. We're told to do a type of own avatar, whatever we wanted to kind of do. And I just kind of thought having like a Man in Black, kind of suit, every glasses would be pretty sweet. And it was kind of fun. I noticed that this model ended up in one of the official tutorial documents on the Git book. Oh yeah, and this is Bigfoot the bounty hunter. So if Bigfoot was a intergalactic bounty hunter, this is how I kind of envision him. And there is kind of a little bit of a Chewie reference there on purpose as well. But Chewie didn't have brass knuckles, so I figured we're pretty good on that in terms of copyright issues. But just in case of trivia, yes, they do check us for copyright too. So if anything is kind of too close, to let us know. Yeah, don't do that. So. But there's a volleyball net for beach stuff, and then of course we all need an open sign sometimes. So that's kind of fun. This is also one of the first assets I did, which was, why is it broken now? So gotta fix that guy. But yeah, kind of a Mayan inspired platform. and there's a little frisbee pinwheel. I'll turn some of these guys on because I realize some of the animations aren't on some of these things. And then I don't know who is a fan of 80s skating. Um, Let me go underneath this skateboard here because this might look kind of familiar. If you're a fan of 80s skaters, you might recognize who this might be paying homage to, and that would be Mike McGill. So I heard about the Tony Hawk earlier, so I'm pretty sure they would know McGill Twist. Um, and then yeah, this is gonna be a little mini basketball area. And there was a game jam that I entered. This is for the sports jam, um, the round 21. Now at the time when basically I first got in contact with Collectix was like about a week or so before that game jam was about to close. And I told them like I probably could whip up something really quick that we can do. And then it was like another 2 days later, this whole mechanic of that kind of launcher thing came out, and I'm kind of like, oh man. So in the first game jam version, it's more of like a layup contest, and at some point I'll post that one now, especially that we have like Game Dizzy and Dizzy's tool there where you can look things up. And so the whole idea was to make all the baskets, get the little trophy, and you can see I'm wearing the jersey already. That's the Mark Price one. And these are little trivia things. I didn't activate it yet, but it has little trivia aspects to the performance that Mark was doing, and yeah, like I mean, he would have been playing during Jordan times and stuff like that, and so like this guy shot better than Jordan. Yeah, absolutely. That's one of the things I was telling the Eclectics guys was that how a lot of these players, including even like Roy Jones Jr., he's a former light heavyweight champ, and there's a lot of people who have no idea who they are now, and so like there's little things like how you could say, yes, Mark Price shoots better than Jordan, like this, and so I think no matter who you are, what age group you're in, you're kind of like, oh, okay. So um and these things are something, it's kind of neat. This is why they actually want to go into the metaverse with everyone else too, is they have these neat physical tickets that they're selling, but they also unlock digital media, like so the rights to digital media, um, and this is where we're looking to actually have some Sandbox items be part of some of these other sports collectibles too. So not only would you get like a physical ticket that commemorates, say, like something Mark did, but maybe this jersey comes with it too for use in the Sandbox. So let's see. Are those actually no? None of this is Magica created. I have messed with Magica a little bit, just for fun, really. It's just that I got, when it comes to the creator fun stuff, like they're pretty specific. You have to use the Voxedit, and so it's very nuts and bolts in that sense. And these guys are NFTs, so like I just have to turn on the display NFT information when interacting. I just haven't done it yet. I was really kind of laying everything out. And so yeah, like if you do look on my wallet there, when you look on my profile, you'll see these on OpenSea as regular NFTs. So oh yeah, no, this guy, that's like in the field, it was amazing. Like I mean, I kind of remember Mark when, cause I'm not super old. I'm 43, but I do remember this guy, and I was still a kid when he was playing, and I remember this guy shooting the lights out, but I did not realize he had something like a 90% like um, field goal percentage from things within the key. It's like, dude, wow. I mean, it's like almost every shot he would make if you let this guy take a shot inside the key. It's like, oh my god, like Jordan, Kobe, they just kept throwing the rock at the hoop, man. Like you throw enough darts at the board, you're gonna hit it. You know what I mean? So, but yeah, Mark is like a whole other ball of wax. And so yeah, this is gonna be my eclectic Sky Arena, and I keep hoping someday they'll give us a superhero landing for things like that. but but yeah, I can definitely show you how to do stuff. Like here, let me give you let me show you how, for instance, this like how I mentioned about the game here, because I think there's going to be a lot of these, and I think it's something a lot of people do dig is the arcade games, and yeah, the for instance, Touche actually did have me work on some stuff for him, um, and hopefully you'll see that pretty soon, um, because it's some fun guy stuff, some fun guys themed arcade, and actually even one for his arcane. I'm sure you wouldn't necessarily mind me spilling the beans on that one, but yeah, now that one I'm really I want to let him do the unveiling. um, so, but I know personally I had a lot of fun working on that. I mean all of them honestly it was really fun, but the arcane one was a little bit more open ended. He has just basically said make this look cool. You kind of know what it looks like. Excuse me, you know how it plays. Um, and see how it goes. And so yeah, I had some fun, using more colors, having fun with the gradients, things like that. Okay, I'm opening up the arcade game. Second. Okay, and let's go to this guy. All right. That's what's fun about. Okay, well now Little Legion's gonna be going. But either way, I can show you what this guy looks like. And so you can see here on at least on the hierarchy, and of course the Legion can go back. He's gonna see this. They're gonna see this again because I have to go back and show where these are all placed at. But you can see how, for instance, the screen, how many different screen children nodes that we have here. Um, so all of those had to be done. And then if you look off to the right here on the library, you can kind of see. And now this is subtleties, but it's important. And like I'll bring them up over here so they're isolated. Okay, keep note of like the dark and light bands that are going on here. Now this is moving those gives the illusion of your screen flicker. Because you'll see that was playing 01, here's 02, and you're gonna see how they have the lighter bands, now a darker band. And so this is kind of just oscillating those is what creates this sort of subtle kind of haze thing going on here when it's a blank screen. Um, and then also kind of same thing with the press start. It gives it this subtle movement without necessarily inducing epilepsy or epileptic seizures or something, because it definitely can. If in terms of just like on off on off on off, so there is a certain subtlety that you have to look for, towards not as obtrusive. Um, and then same thing like with now this is something just a little tip as well. So like here's off, this is idle, no nothing going on, and you can see how the title isn't lit up, and so even when we go on to the blank screen, you see this. Now this is something to keep in mind if you want to do things like this. I recommend making sure it's a single plate like this, um, instead of trying to do each individual letter, because you're going to save faces, number one, and a lot of time. And so ultimately, when you pop the glowing sign out, it can be very very minimal. We're talking like a point 0.1 movement on the forward or back, and that's all you kind of need because you don't want to yank it up too much forward, and then that makes it kind of look like it's now extruded a little bit. But this is also where that subtle movement of that point 0.1 to point 2, 3 can make it look like it's doing that screen flicker without actually having to flicker things, kind of like how I was mentioning with the press start. Um, so even that, in terms of back and forth, is going on too very subtly, um, and so that kind of stuff kind of helps with the immersion factor, of course. And then let's go to playing. So like first we have playing demo, which is kind of like how we all know when you have arcade games, you have like the tracked mode, as they call it sometimes too, where the game just sort of plays itself. And so this is kind of where or actually I started in this one, so I got the screen moving the way I wanted it to, and then I did the controls to synchronize everything. And so if you could, let me scroll down to the actual animation part, and you can kind of see here where you have the movement of it coming out from its key position out to its peak and then going back within that 1 second timeline. And that once again, that 1 second I found seems to be the least irritating to the eyes, I guess you can say. So if as I'm sure some of you who are familiar with Voxedit, you can grab these keyframes and make the time scale shorter, and it'll move faster. But it's almost like, once again, it's like the eye really kind of doesn't appreciate how much flicker if it goes too much faster. And so you can see every 1 second it has a peak there, it goes out, and then ultimately until it loops back around. And so that's the other part of it, is looping. Um, so like how this guy, the last enemy blinks out, ah, right at this last keyframe here, so that way when we go back to number one, it all resets, and then you get the whole thing playing over again. So that's also key in terms of having these types of animations, is having an idea of where it's going to start and stop. Um, and once you got that down, it's just the tedious part. I mean, that's honestly easy, because like how even that switching between those bands, basically once I had the blank, these two guys done, screen on blank one, screen on blank two, like you essentially just alternate from there. Same thing with press start, and so yeah, as you just kind of swap those guys in and out, and then for the actual playing demo, for the, obviously with the controls, they don't really control anything, so it's a matter of just syncing it up with the movement. Let me go to that animation, and then you can see that. Where are you? Okay, playing. Here we go. And so yes, here's where you can see, and this is where different types of animation curves, like you're seeing there, also make a difference in terms of what's going on, because the joystick will have a little bit more linear kind of movement, even in terms of just how most people think of joysticks moving, and the buttons, you kind of have a very binary on and off going on there. And once again, it's just kind of arbitrary to, like, why is this red button going down or not, or whatever. Just because I made it, and so I figured I was going to make it move. Is really kind of what it came down to on this one. So, but yeah, that's how this guy, and then of course just good old fashioned drawing on the outside here. Just gotta draw it. Of course, I was using a Space Invaders kind of theme or inspiration was the idea. And yeah, so it was pretty fun doing this thing in general. And I'm glad that it all worked out pretty well. And it seems like everyone's enjoying it so far, in terms of the 9 people who've bought it so far, who I'm really grateful for. And actually, one of those was Touche. That's kind of how all this started. I was on his stream, and I'm like, "Hey, thanks for buying my thing." He's like, "I did." Which one is that? And he's like, "Oh, you did that." I'm like, "Yeah." And that's kind of how it went on. And actually, on that subject, I kind of want to show you this. I said I kind of don't think he's gonna care. Like, it's not, because he didn't make me sign an NDA. I'm not competing with him. Obviously, we're trying to do similar things here in terms of, bolstering our brand names. And let me see if I can find the arcane one, because I kind of want to show you guys that. Where would that be? Let's see. Okay. So sorry, Tisha, I didn't give you the chance to unveil this to everyone at first, but I'm sure his reach is much further than mine at this point. So there'll be a chance for a lot of first times seeing it. So here's the one I did for his entry into the 8-bit game jam, which is Arcane, which was a really cool game. I mean, it was just like how that was done and how it was this sort of like trick 2D thing that was going on there. Excellent made. Excuse me. And so reuse some stuff because obviously like the blank screen is going to be kind of the same. Press start's going to be similar, and now the playing this is what was fun to me. This is like a whole new level of movement that I wanted to experiment with. Um, because I don't know if everyone in the chat has played Arcane in the draft gallery, but if you haven't, check it out. It's a really neat concept. You're basically a single cell. Your objective is to absorb the food or other smaller single cell things, which are symbolized in here by the green ones, and they're green in the game too. Um, and trying to avoid the red things, and you have this little attack function, which is where you're kind of seeing like a light beam come out from that center dot, and it's highlighting the red dot, and then it goes away, and then runs into the green dot, and the green dot lights up and goes away. So that's kind of what happens. So it's and this is where, in terms of some of the animation of how do you make it look like it moves when it's not moving, because it's the same thing. Once again, you can see um, the all the frames are still the same. So I mean, in terms of the number, I used a 10 count on that still, once again, and it's reference points. Okay, so if you look at obviously we'd be on playing number one right now, and if you watch the, let's say, these upper blue and red dots here, and as we go forward, like tracking those is what gives you the motion. And so like you're gonna see those kind of go off the screen, and then you're gonna see these blue ones on the left swing really far to the right at one point. And because if you played the game, this probably feels familiar in that sense, because it is like you're swimming almost, and you kind of zig and zag, and so the whole screen and everything on it kind of moves to the side. And so I wanted to capture that because it's a really unique part of the mechanics in the game. And so this is kind of where, and Touche didn't necessarily say, I want to see the essence of the game captured in this. No, he didn't ask me that. I think he was expecting, he told me, he's all, you just put like a white dot in the center and make ones light up or something. And so I'm like, all right, let me see what I can do. Because I sincerely wanted to see if I can capture that sort of 8-bit movement that was going on too, and everything. And so I had a lot of fun with it. It was really cool. And we'll see what comes out next, because there's some stuff that we were kind of like, this would be kind of fun too. But I'm sure those who follow Touche know that he's on an epic road trip right now with Andy, going through Northern California and back up through Oregon, which was kind of cool. But yeah, this is the Arcane arcade, and with this one, when the joystick moves, the buttons move, etc., etc. I'm trying. That also helps sell the illusion of overall movement too. Um, and yeah, and so this is those little tricks of the eye, so to speak, and in terms of the populating each one of those screens, it all started from like the action points. So for instance, how you can see our player character was attacking that red, and so, and with this here, I wanted to make sure, okay, so I'm attacking this red little dot. So this is one of the first dots that was made other than the white one. And so emphasize that action point, and then you kind of move on to each one after that. And then from there, what I was doing is I was watching this animation and going like, well, what's going to give me the accentuation of the movement that I'm looking for? And so this is where more stuff started ending up being on the left side, because I needed something to be trailing as it got to over here. Because I see you have this, and then you have all the blue and the red over there, and it whips over to right there real fast. And so that's what I was also trying to capture in terms of some of that movement, and on the way to catch the next action point, which would be the green dot over here, which our player character is looking to absorb. And so yeah, that's in terms of those who are looking to do more intricate animations and such, start with your important focal and action points, and then build around from there. Just kind of like how when you have a very you have a lot of animations going on in general, it's good to start with almost like how in other professional animations they call it an animatic. Um, so you have like a rough draft of your motion, and then you go in and do the details. So that's what I found even in Voxedit doing the different sandbox items here. That's good to kind of do because you can just get lost in this forever, which I kind of did. Um, you know, and and I knew that it's like you can get stuck here. Then by the time I came over here, I'm like, oh yeah, that's right. This is kind of tedious. so so I tried to kind of outline everything, um, and even if at first it was just the white dot and the oscillating screens, okay, done. Now move on to this for a little bit. Things like that. So, you know, I've been doing art professionally for a lot of different purposes for a while now, and I found that there really isn't any one way, and a lot of times it isn't necessarily good to kind of sort of keep trudging on and really kind of whipping yourself to get things done, because you have to ask yourself, is that the optimal state of your trade? Like, do you think that you can do your A game right now when you're super tired, super hungry, etc., etc.? And is that what you want to turn in and show the world? So it's like these questions are very important to ask yourself as an artist. So this is kind of where you should stop sometimes and just be like, yeah, I'm going to do that tomorrow. Don't feel bad about that. Um, and if anything, it's like because the desire is going to be there just as strong, if not stronger, because you're going to be that much closer to getting done. What was the other asset that someone wanted me to kind of go deeper into? Do I still have my maker up? Let me check. I think I do. Let's switch back to this guy. All right. There was another asset that I had the question on. Oh wait, I don't know. I totally forgot right now. So, but is there any other animation questions on any of those actually, or on the arcade or um, anything? Feel free to go ahead and ask. Because yeah, I've been doing quite a few of these different assets. Oh, that's one of the things I can do though. Let me turn on some of these things while I'm here. Some of these do look cooler when they're actually moving and such. Okay. What was the other one? Okay, one second. Okay. Now, oh, that's right. This is the other one I was going to animate as well. Okay. Let's see what this. I see there was no eye movement on this guy either. Let's go ahead and turn that eyes on. I know some stuff is floating too. I won't mess with that too much. Let's see what's going on. I'll turn on the pinwheel just because I can. Fun stuff. Skateboard also has the wheels turn as well. Let's go ahead and get that going. Forward, preferably. And who else? There is different animations here too. Let's see which ones are here. So that's just on. That's right. Okay. Let's see. All right. Ooh. That one's still the same. And okay, there's my lamp. I keep forgetting to actually have this lamp sometimes. I'm like, I need some kind of light in my creations. It's like, oh yeah, I have a lamp. I don't know why I just felt like opening that. And then here's my power orb column. um, no, I don't stream while I make the creator fun stuff. I'm not even sure if that's a violation of NDA or not. I was actually wondering about that. And I was thinking about posing that question in the Discord. But like how all of these are published. So technically speaking, if you went to my profile, they're all there. So I can't necessarily hide them, and so there's nothing really that's kind of been disclosed that wasn't already in a certain level of public domain. Um, but yeah, those eyes are moving back and forth just nice and slow to give you that kind of like, is that moving? Yes, it is. um, but but yeah, because I can totally see how the streaming on some of these things can go both ways. I mean, but because on one hand it's kind of cool that you can kind of promote things and kind of shows people what's going on, but and some stuff though is kind of like obviously hasn't been released yet to the public in terms of what's going to be shown. So that's where also I can see where yeah, not a good idea. So but yeah, like I said, these once they're approved, once they've kind of gone through everything, if you're watching my profile, you'll see them there anyways. Yeah, it's kind of funny. I've noticed this guy probably can do some interesting things with this skateboard. Some of the glitches. Oh yeah, and then there's this diving board too. I forgot to show that. I'm gonna do something with this. I'm trying to figure out what I want to do with the diving board over here. I have it go into something cool here. Maybe like straight down into like an underground or something. And then I don't know why there's a random block there. But oh yeah, and then the frisbee too. There's some stuff that I'm making that isn't related to the Creator Fund. That's what I guess I could zip back. I am gonna enter something in the Easter contest just because it just sounded fun to me. Kind of like how Max was saying he wanted to do Zombie Jesus. I wasn't kind of gonna quite go that hardcore, but what I wanted to do was make the different memes that you see of the old Easter Bunny costumes. Those things always cracked me up. I'm like, oh my god, people actually made this, and then someone said, yeah, that's the Easter Bunny. You know what I mean? So they're just freaky looking things, right? And so I thought it'd be kind of fun to do a creepy 50s Easter Bunny costume. Oh wow, that's kind of funny right there. Speaking of. So yeah, the frisbee does turn. I just kind of messed it up though because I turned it up on that axis. But let's do that again. So this way, I'll just kind of spin this way. Whee! So I do have creepy 50 bunny. So, but no, that's cool. Maddox, yeah. I mean, I used to kind of tell people, Happy Zombie Jesus Day 2 myself. They'd be like, what do you mean? It's like 3 days. He was dead and comes back, and then it's kind of live, kind of not, so the story says. So it kind of sounds like a zombie to me. But anyways. So yeah, I totally get you there. But let's see the creepy bunny. Let me get the creepy bunny queued up. Because it's just about good to go. I guess I have to make the GIF and such. I wasn't going to get too intricate on the texturing. Just because... Oh wait, that's right. I have it in... I can show in the Game Maker here. Let me get out of this. So I have my modeling area. I recommend having a blank modeling space as a builder of any kind. I think I have it saved right now too. Boom! All right, here's my creepy 50s Easter Bunny outfit. He's creepy. He's coming. Not quite as creepy as this though. I thought. Look at this. What would you do if that bunny did that to you? I mean, wow. So, the creepy 50 bunny's outfit. And yeah, this is kind of similar in the sense that this is an outfit. So it's chest, legs, arms, and the head. And I'm gonna post it with the reference, to of this just weird looking rabbit from the 50s. It's just like wow. So, this guy, and then actually while I'm at it here, since I'm in my modeling place, let's do this. Let's get rid of our head for a second. I'll show you guys this. This is my beer buddy. He runs around with me on my shoulder. So this is something that I'm gonna eventually publish here. I'm working out some of the animations and such like that, and so this is one of the earlier incarnations of the Shakespeare's shoulder beer buddy. I'm kind of anticipating doing more of them. What it is basically a helmet. So it's a headpiece that's been modified to kind of sit over the shoulder. We'll see how it goes. I hope to get a lot of gems and catalysts through the land and all. And maybe I'll try to make this like a legendary item too, where it just gives a lot of protection or something. So, yeah, it's a beer buddy. I can show, like for instance, the importing into the template kind of broke a little bit of the mouth, I've noticed. But the animation once again of what is how to do, say, the little fizzies or all that little stuff, I can kind of show that too. Let me see, actually, go and pull that dude up. Beer buddy. Switch over to Voxedit. So here's that beer buddy file, and you can kind of see how the mouth on this guy versus we're not in it right now, versus this guy, a little crooked. And so that happened just because of importing it into the template. It just kind of tweaked it a little bit, and so I'm gonna, when I get back to it, I'll fix that. But it was really kind of a test, because what I was doing is I was taking, basically a blank animated object in a sense, and then imported the hierarchy into the headpiece model here, of course. And so you can see I added quite a bit of different nodes there when doing the importation. So, and then here you can see, of course, the different animations. And I don't recall what I started with. I think I might have actually started with the fizz, because it was, once again, I'm kind of looking at where's the eye going, what's going to kind of give things the most character, and being, Shakespeare, so to speak, and the fizzy can thing, I figured it had, has to have a certain character. And then I chose to do kind of this way, because as we know that beer and carbonated beverages, whatever, they can foam out a lot of different ways. And so I did it this way because it's probably the easiest to test run. So as you can see how a lot of it is just coming out, it seems to be coming out the top really fast. I was experimenting with the frothy stuff, because you can kind of see here, if I zoom into the top, you're going to see like some of these different cubes spinning and twisting and things like that, to kind of give it that sort of, frothy look as it comes out. It's going back in now. So, but yes, backpack too. Yeah, that's a good idea as well. And then, so like how you can see with that different movement, and these cubes are pretty much colored the same, if I'm not mistaken. There's a few deviations, but for the most part they're fairly similar, and that was on purpose to, once again, kind of make things look uniform on a certain chaotic level. Because how we know, like, there's textures, they were imitating like bubbles coming out in a stream. How, generally speaking, there's a dynamic range of what creates a bubble froth. And so having these different patterns repeat but have the motions different kind of helps give that illusion of some of these different, textures like water or bubbles, etc., etc. So rather than, if you're thinking, doing a bunch of water or something like that, I'm going to have to texture a bunch of things, that might not be the case. You might only need to do like a handful of them and just move them around, because that's kind of what our eye's seeing anyways. It's seeing a certain pattern they're recreating. And so the same goes for the ones that are shooting out. So there's a certain familiarity, even on a subconscious level, if it's super fast, that the audience can see and sort of recognizes, oh, this is all coming out of this one element that's very similar. And so, oh, that must be bubbles, because this looks like a can. So little things like that are what to consider when making some of these things. And is it kind of tedious to do a lot of that bubble stuff? Yes. Yes, it is. But it's far less tedious than trying to recreate, let's say like hundreds of different variations. Because not only that, when you have this, I mean, this guy is already 880 faces, and to me, working on creator fun stuff all the time, that's a lot. Like, that's like, whoa. Not that like it's so bad that we use 5,000 faces. It's just the whole idea in terms of some of the projects we got is to be as efficient as possible. And so this is having fun to me. It's like, whoa, almost 1,000 faces. Look at me, I'm going crazy. So I know some of the creators out there. It's like I've seen some like 16,000 faces. It's like, whoa. But yeah, and ultimately, what the idea too is to elaborate. And this one is relatively short. Like I said, this is like 10 seconds worth of animations. But I think what I like to do over time is make it kind of long. So, like long enough to where you don't realize it is just one long animation, but it looks like it's kind of went through a set of them. Um, but so far, I'm pretty happy with the test. And so it kind of gives you an idea. Oh yeah, this is something that I'm sure this question's gonna come up. Like, how did I get it to sit over the shoulder? Right. That's another thing that won't make a lot of sense if this is a headpiece template. So if we go into the actual asset and you look at the can, because that's the parent node, and then if I click on my pivot tool, you can see I've moved that guy all the way over here. So it's usually it'll be sitting on top of your character's head right there if you on the headpiece template. And so if you grab it and you just move it off to wherever, well, now you got a headpiece that can be like a little dragon, something else, whatever you want to do in terms of your own creations or ideas in the future. So this is kind of how you tweak that. And as far as I know, I haven't ran into any collision issues yet. So I've been testing it a little bit, and so we'll see. Yeah, kind of like a pet configuration, and it's obviously okay. I was at first thinking about doing it kind of small and sitting on the shoulder, but you know how so many different avatars have different profiles and different widths of their head. I figured it'd kind of just be easier to have it sort of flying over the shoulder than actually sitting on the shoulder, because that might cause it to clip right through some of the heads of the models itself. Um, so, and if I was going to have it flying over the shoulder, then I probably could make it bigger too. And so that's some of the decision process there, just in terms of what was I thinking. Okay, let me see. Okay, let's look at this. There's 3 foam variations since I was talking about that there. And then there are 6 of those, or 7, and another 6 of the thinner ones. So you can see there's a fair amount of them, but they're really just recolors in terms of some of the suds. So just kind of going over that little technique and stuff, and you can see how each one of those though is going to add faces, and so that's kind of why, even though there's still kind of a lot of them, I was still trying to keep it to a minimum, because that's still um, going to be, was that the what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, the 6 faces again, um, for each cube, and so which isn't necessarily horrible, but you get enough of those together, it gets a little laggy. So that's another issue too. Even if you have a pretty good computer, um, so those are the things that are definitely going to come up as in terms of just general users as you go to now test your creations in the game maker and such. Sometimes even though you're well under 5,000 faces, it's just because you have too many of these little guys. It'll cause things to go kind of weird on you. And yeah, and this is kind of where I guess I can get into subtleties too in terms of just like the eyes. This is where you'll see that there's these different obviously key points on here, and most of the time, for instance, okay, when you're moving the idle, like the idle sort of up and down, that's where you see so many times you have these extra nodes here. Um, so like I can move each eye independently and eyebrow independently, but then that idle like kind of breathing up and down. This is where you have your global space manipulators that work great for that kind of stuff, because over the second you have that whole eye ridge traveling up and down and stuff like that. Then in the meantime, you can have the the subtle sort of rotations going on if you're having your character look somewhere, and this kind of helps give it sort of that natural sort of idle look. And so this is where getting your nodes together in these bunches that will naturally sort of move together, and then kind of having a nice steady sort of movement over that a longer bandwidth of time is how you kind of create those idle animations that you see by hand, anyways. Because yeah, obviously this isn't from a template at all, and you kind of have to like come up with all of your different, like, what is the resting mouth versus the tense one, things like that, and so this is where once again why you see so many of the different nodes there, because it gives you these different points that you can do and help raise and lower levels to kind of either create some sort of unique expression, or kind of have that passive animation. Because obviously if things don't have that and they're just still, it looks funny. so so you avoid having things look funny there. Um, okay, hold on, everyone in the chat. I have to run real quick, but I'm going to be back in about 1 minute. Okay, less than 1 minute. Sorry about that. Just had to adjust something real quick. So yeah, this is once again little beer buddy. Some little finer points of animation. Trying to think of what else. Is there any other animation questions or anything like that? Just feel free to shoot any questions you got there, or anything you want me to kind of blah blah about. Um, I'm just kind of showing the wares at this point, and just keeping the Sandbox stream vibe alive here into the night. Um, it's pretty much what I do, anyways. I've always been kind of like more of a night person. and eventually I'll have the camera going too, so I'll actually be able to see who I am. Although one of the things I do want to do is kind of like what Game Dizzy does, but with my beer can there. So I have my animated beer can avatar on the side too. I can lip sync it to video and things like that, but I have not to the point of the Game Dizzy got his avatar where you can have a dynamic. Almost, not quite. It's pretty soon I'll have that. Change it. Yes, there is. You can change the pivot point in each one of the actual little models. So like in here, like on the can, like how I showed you, you can go into here and move this guy around. Like see how you can see how this goes. Woo, another way over here, another way over there, another way over here, and so so this is how you you can move it around, and you can pretty much do this with anything. Even in the regular templates to some degree. And actually, I can even open one up. Let's go ahead and open up regular template. Let's do a giant human. We're gonna put this. I call this test one. Okay, so I have a okay, well I'll do the pivot question first. And I use this giant model on purpose because a lot of times, okay, when let's do run. Okay, well, I'm sure all of us have seen the giant humanoid template, and you kind of look at this, and there's this tapering towards the bottom, and you have feet. And everyone kind of looks at, whoa, these feet are so tiny, um, and and so you can't go in here, and obviously you can go in and change this. And what ends up happening is if you make this bigger, for some reason, let's say we're going to go out to 16, okay, and then we're going to go ahead and fill that in with this just because we're going to do it right now, this color, because we can. This is going to start kind of extending out underneath the ground level a little bit. And so even on these, you can get this and yank it a little bit forward, and that should be less of an issue. So just kind of one of those things that to look out for. If you're using the template, you want to increase the size, you're going to probably have to use the pivot tool at some point to help kind of get everything back in line. And so I can kind of save this guy and go back, and it should, for all rights and purposes, kind of be just fine now. Even though now it's a little bit longer than the other side of the foot. So and that's something to keep in mind if you do want to make a character who's asymmetrical. You can use the pivots to make him kind of move, a little bit more in synchronization, shall we say? Can I change the actual node without an object attached to it? Yes, you can. And then once you drop the model in there, it should fill itself in there. Because, like, for instance, let me do something here. Let me break this. Oh, wrong one. Sorry. Okay, you can. Okay, actually on this. Okay, because it's locked. Okay, because the template's locked, I can't necessarily demonstrate that part. But on regular animation, or just like on let's just create another one. Let's see. Oh, wait. I think I might just do the same thing. Okay, let's create this. Okay. Okay, just go here. Do controller. Yes, of course, it's good just to get in the habit of doing the controller thing. Okay. Thing 1. Alright, thing 1's gonna be 3 by 3. So we can see some movement. Boom. Save it back. Oh yeah, let's just do this too. Because this is also important. Whenever you make something smaller than 32 by 32, like this is gonna be off. Your pivot's gonna be off, and so that definitely makes a difference when you go to do your animation. So you want to check that. And so let's go ahead and I'm gonna make this child node stick thing. Alright, our stick thing. So now we have our stick thing. You can see there's already a bounding box around it, to some degree. Now, let's move this guy. Okay. Let's see. Unlink this guy. I'm just going to duplicate this. I'm going to drop back in here. And see how it still has the same modifications to the direction and such. Now, if you have an unlocked model or you're doing something from scratch, you can just replace these things like this. So let's say like this was an arm or something like that, and you already had the node set up. You can unlink the model, then just drop another one in there. It should stay pretty much exactly where you put it before. So I'm going to backtrack a little bit here. So got Keeper Top Shot asking, when doing animations, is there some kind of randomization in there? Like, for example, the bubbles drop from different angles, coordinates. And now that is done manually, yes. In terms of the bubbles on the Beer Buddy there. And this is kind of where, let's say this is one of our bubbles or something. Okay, now if this was bubble 1, and then how we're going to create another child here. Stick thing 2. Now stick thing 2. Okay, and so now if we know that this is at 65 degrees, okay, then we just do 34, and then now we're done. So you kind of just do little variations, and you can get very precise with it if you want to, in terms of 25, whatever, this and that. It really just depends on what kind of effect you're going for, but even just tapping these things a different direction a little bit, now they're different. So if I wanted to make this sort of move in a weird way, maybe I could do that actually. So let's just do this. Let me reset everything on these guys, so they all kind of start within each other. Okay. Why are you doing this, you? There you are. Okay. So now they're all starting from the same spot. Okay, and then we're going to do this. We're going to make them come out forward and twist or something a little bit. So I'm going to get this guy. I'm going to get thing 1. I'm going to bring it over here. I'm going to move this way. Okay, I'll bring it back. I'm going to go with this guy 2. And then I'll jump up to here. Create another keyframe there, and jump on another quarter second, and then I'm going to bring this guy back. Actually, I'm coming back over here. We'll bring this guy back. Okay, and then I'm going to move him back to 0. Bam. Okay, so then we're going to go number 2. We're going to bring this one out over here, and then we're going to go the other way in terms of the rotation. So, like that. And then we're going to bring that one back for the next quarter second. Okay, so just that, we should get these things sort of like coming out slightly different from each other, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And you can say that that's pretty much one way you can do this. And obviously this is a very slow pace, so you can kind of see it moving back and forth. But let's say you want it to snap, kind of like the bubbles we're doing. You would basically bring this guy closer, and this one right here, I think this should do it. It should just go bam, 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 yeah. So now it kind of looks like it's like an emitter almost effect. And so this is kind of how you'd kind of have some randomization, and the more drastic you pull that end keyframe, the more accentuated the overall motion is going to be. And so I'm sure you could see from this point how you can do quite a few of these, and it would kind of have its own effect even. So yeah, that's That'd be one way to do that real quick, in a sense. And you can see that's essentially how the bubbles that you saw were done as well. Um, they're going to be snapping back and forth really quick like that. And this is where, all right, Maddox, good game for sure, friend. And thanks for sticking out this long. I know it's should be seeing the sunrise pretty soon. So, you know how that goes though. Especially the more you get into it. Like I mentioned in their chat earlier, how just naturally sometimes I'll be up 24 hours. I just when you kind of just work on your own, you don't really have anything specific to wake up for. It's amazing how long you can do things. So, um, and and yeah, it's and I also figure if doctors can do it, and I'm not operating on anyone or prescribing any medications, I should be fine. So, um, much less hazard and liability going on, pushing voxels around. So, although a lot of times, like how I mentioned earlier, I don't necessarily find myself slumped over the computer working on Voxedit or stuff like that, because I find at one point I'm just not going to be at my optimal. Like, it's kind of like I'm tired. I'm even saying, oh, I just want to get this done. That means I'm rushing myself. So if I say, oh, I just want to get this done, I'm so close. I don't want to put it down like that. That means you're kind of rushing. I found that over time for myself. Um, but if you take your time, revitalize, you end up doing a lot better work. I mean, and even for myself, there's been times with like say the Creator Fund where I'm just kind of like, oh, I know there's gonna be this review in X amount of hours. I just try to get it done, this and that. But then I'm kind of like, is that what I want to submit to my colleagues? I don't want to submit this thing that I just rushed to get there for what? To try to get a little extra sand right now, even though it's like it's really not about right now, anyways. um, so these little conundrums that artists kind of run into, and I'm sure a lot of other artists out there would attest to it. Um, like I said, my advice is just to not necessarily run yourself so hard all the time. Like I said, me personally, I just naturally am more of a late shift kind of person, and like kind of like not as long as Mr. Winning, but I did work at Disneyland, like Mr. Winning has in the past. And I was actually working graveyard custodial, and so my shift started at 12:30 at night, and then I would get off at 6:30 in the morning or 8:30 in the morning, depending on how that long they needed us. Um, and ever since then, I realized like how kind of like Janis Joplin said, it's all the same day. like, um, and how there's a lot of social pressure that's put on us in terms of our actual sleep schedules, but in terms of as humans, like we're capable of going for longer than 12, 16 hours at a time. That's for sure. So especially when you're enjoying what you're doing, like I'm enjoying right now being on stream and just hanging out on streams because it's like we're all working towards similar goals, and we're all interested in this space and working in it, creating in it, bringing our visions to life, maybe making some money, all this good stuff. um, and being able to share this way is really neat because there is no singular office here. There's no cafeteria to talk things over with. And so ends up kind of being that de facto way that it happens, and I think it's really cool. And as we all see, it's like we all learn from each other. I mean, it's amazing, really, just seeing everyone's work. And I think even like those seeing the creator funds and some of the other partnered studios and going like, wow, I wish I could be like that, or wish I could do that. Hey, it goes the other way too, because we're doing our thing, and what you guys or everyone else is expressing is completely unique to them, and so it's all new to us. And so while you might say, oh wow, how can I ever compare to this person or that creator, it's like you do, because everyone's style is different. So just keep that in mind going forward. Don't dissuade yourself by asking yourself, "Am I good enough?" Yes, you are. You're probably, that's what's great about the Sandbox too. While I'm on my soapbox here, is that it actually is a good equalizer, because you have very much novice artists working with very professional artists on a very relatively even platform where if you take these works and put them side by side, you're kind of like, oh, that's the Sandbox. You know, it's not necessarily every time, whoa, this is way better or way worse. It's just different. Even if you took something like Omnimorphs versus, you know, something that's in the market right now for the Sandbox, can we really say that Omnimorphs, because they're super intricate, is so much better than, I don't know, the Smurfs? you know so you know these are things that just as independent artists, which a lot of everyone is here, even the programmers who are working in game maker, it's a type of art that goes into it. You know, we have to realize not to be so hard on yourself. Everyone says I'm my worst critic. That's not always the best way to be. Like, just FYI. um and just appreciate, you know, your own efforts too, because it's someone else will and does. And especially with the game maker, I hear a lot of people saying, oh, there's going to be so much more money in the assets. I don't know about that, because game maker, for those who haven't really messed with it yet, and you're saying, and especially if you're telling yourself, I've never programmed, like, don't let that stop you, because I can guarantee you the programmer's experience probably means nothing in game maker, because there's no if then function, there's no scripts, there's no language to learn. It's only naming things and putting them in the right fields, and placing them. And so this is where how I can see for hardcore programmers, game maker is either like really kind of nifty in a sense of like it's a fun little thing, or infuriating. So if you're a like if you're a Unity programmer hardcore, this thing, game maker's probably driving you insane, because you can't open any scripts. There's no visual basics. But if you appreciate the building as almost like a puzzle in itself, you know, like a puzzle game, then it's ingenious. Like what the game maker software is. And actually, on that note, I mentioned the 3-point contest. Let me pull that up, like, so you can get an idea of what it looks like to do um, counting and stuff like that, and some of these things that in the regular scripting program would be pretty easy, very very basic stuff. But because the game maker being what it is, that you can't do any if and thens. There is no array setups in the classic sense. There's no RAM, in terms of just access memory, things like that. You have to kind of make a pseudo analog scenario. Here, let me turn on the game maker now. And so this is the 3-point contest that didn't quite make it into one of the game jams, because they were flooded with way too many things to look over, apparently. But you can see how each one of these little switches counts and gets rid of one of these balls. And then each one of these are the launchers, of course, in terms of the balls and getting them out. And then you have your speaker over here that's watching all the different balls come in. And then this is controlling all of the scoreboards, which I'm wondering if the scoreboard's going to work, because I tried publishing it, and I noticed that it killed the animations that were in there, so I'm going to see if this works. So, this is the 3-point contest. Let's see how it goes. And my avatar does look kind of funny right now, because I had to make sure it fit inside of the bunny costume. So, and this is my little practice area. Those are my ball boys down there who are gonna go get those. They're all grazing animals, and those are all plants they're eating, as far as they're concerned. So, and then here, I think these actually work this time though. So yeah, see, now you can actually see the NFT details here. Talking about Mark Price there, who I mentioned earlier. And so here's the 3-point contest. We gotta start it here. Let's see how, number one, if I can make one. Let's check our scoreboard. Oh my god. So, wow, that was going horrible. Oh, jeez. See, this one makes kind of fun, man. I mean, I did a lot of this. I'm still having difficulty. Okay, got in there. Oh yeah, see it did kill. Just heads up, if you go to publish anything as a test in the market, it might kill your animations. So, because usually what would happen, that scoreboard would flip to 1, for instance, from all these different positions. So you can kind of see which ones you actually made in each one of those positions there. So I'm going to look into that and see what happens. Wait, did I get all I did? I'm probably not going to do this in time either, so I'm probably going to get a game over on me. So, cause I just did not get off to a good start. But yeah, so those, yeah, not even close. So definitely not my best run through on that one. And like I said, I'll have to see what's up with those scoreboards and see if I can fix that. But yeah, this is your practice area too. So far all that works pretty good. And then I did just kind of make it seem like a little, little mini life in the city here. Didn't want to get too crazy with too many people. And then we have my men in black guarding the door with the bank, of course. And I didn't have enough time, obviously, because I didn't even get in there. But I was gonna put in kind of like a mini volleyball setup here too, but that just didn't work. But yeah, thanks. Hopefully now, once I get that, because even in the scoreboard thing, honestly, like if I have to, I will publish 9 or 10 individual cards of those and go back and redo this, because I just hate this being laid to waste. I mean, there's a lot of these things, because you can see if I break it down. So this guy, okay. This guy is looking for the ball, and there's one for each one of the stations. So each station has a speaker that's looking for a ball that's tagged for each station, and so that's how I'm getting the count from all of them. And what I want to do for a more final version is to make a like a grand total. So not only do you have each individual station going on, I have another just overall counter that will show the entire all the baskets made up on top too. But for now, either way, you kind of have all these balls tagged, and now these guys are kind of funny. So it is just to help kind of give you a shot indicator, because no matter what, this has a message that gets broadcast after the 5th shot that shuts it down. So that way, you can't just keep shooting from the same spot and keep making more baskets to up your score, things like that, and kind of a nice little visual cue. And so all these sort of talk to each other on some level. So the speaker talks to the first one over here. Once this thing tells this one's the last one out, it shuts it down. It starts the next shot station, etc., etc. And then of course there's the rules. If we pull this guy up, you can see that these are all little quests within each other. So the position 1's its own quest, 2, etc., etc. And then the actual contest that launches the 60 seconds from when we say go. And so that's pretty much the you can say the how-to to some degree on this. And you can see how there really isn't any actual programming. I'll go into this trigger here, and you can see how logic. So it's going to send P1 score 1 when it gets that P1 goal message from the speaker over here, and then it's going to destroy itself. So that way it'll keep counting on. I think some people have seen this technique done many different times, but at the same time, you have this guy flipping to the next animation on our scoreboard when the animation isn't broken. So it kind of does that, through this little circuit board thing here. And so when I was showing my associates what has to happen to make this happen, they were pretty impressed because they're like, wow, didn't realize that there's no coding in this environment. It's like, yeah, there's no coding in the sense, but you are making a type of puzzle or code in and of itself. And so that is what makes it pretty fun because it is a visual programming experience. And so in this sense, like how I mentioned, it's a puzzle in terms of how am I going to get number one, the balls to shoot. Number two, how is it going to count? Number three, what counts it? And then how is it only counted a finite amount of times? And so knowing how to do that kind of stuff, like basic counting in here, like is gonna be very very valuable as a skill. So those out there who are game makers, like don't feel left out because you're not cranking out these different assets. These things, being able to put together these things is going to be is very important. I mean, you can have all the best looking assets in the world, but if your game keeps breaking, like who cares? so so it's gonna having that in place is great. And so this is one of those things, and watching things like the GMAE show is a great place to just get tips because like what Joe goes through and shows you, like, can I break this is a huge issue. I mean, it's like you have to do that. Like, yeah, so I went around here and I do this stuff to my own stuff too, and I'm like, can I jump up and get on top of things I shouldn't? And if I do, does that make me stuck? So yes, you're gonna do it because someone's not gonna want to go and throw those balls like I just have it set up there. I mean, that's in a sense you can see how these kind of overhang the world a little bit. That's on purpose because if not, you can get stuck in there. You know what I mean? You know, I saw some custom assets of people doing basketball games where they did somehow change the avatar. I'm guessing it might be a weapon that they did maybe as a way to kind of make that shooting action. And I've seen some dribbles too as custom assets as well. Um, and that was kind of the thing. I mean, it's probably possible to do that way. In these particular ones, like I was the only person doing most of the work. One of my associates helped with that the trophy, for instance, and laid the groundwork for the jersey. But then I took the trophy and the jersey and then trimmed them, made sure all the pivot points are in the right spot. And then like with the trophy, I made a little glow to it. I don't think it's doing it right now, or has a little sheen to it that kind of turns on and off. But yeah, and that's one of the things that I'm hoping is addressed in some of the updates because that's what I thought was funny when I saw that sports competition at first. I'm kind of like, there's no grab and throw functions, there's no kick animation, there's only this jump. There's only, there's all these things that kind of need to happen in sports games, and I can see how just like that puzzle factor, like I was saying, like how can you do this in the game maker? I can see how that's of high value. Like let's say to Animoca, to see what can people do. How can you create a sports game with none of those functions? What is possible, and what do we have to put in? Because that kind of stuff, in terms of like from the corporate standpoint, is very valuable. So those are kind of like, oh, I don't understand these people doing the sports thing. It's like they're doing it on purpose. Like, trust me, they know that they know that exists. They know the issue exists. And they, in a lot of ways, they're counting on the ingenuity of their users to kind of show them something that they may not know, or see how the users managed to overcome certain obstacles that they know that they're already encountering internally, things like that. And so I thought that was kind of fun. I had the incentive, like I said, it was just like right about the same time, this company found me and contacted me about this, and we were talking about collaboration. And I told them, like, yeah, sure, because I think this is one of the things that's going to be important in terms of when the market's open, is like what is your presence? And so those who have your own unique IPs, and I think that Touche is a good example. Cody Codazine and those are good examples of like how they're creating a certain style of what defines their intellectual property. And so if you have a theme, like run with it, expand on it, because that's what's going to help define your products in the marketplace too, even more so. And so for our collaboration here, having this professional sports connection is a great thing, because there's also some other entertainers, in terms of musicians and such, that they work with, that we'll probably end up introducing to. Um, but Mark is just one of the first guys who was like, "Sure, let's do this," and so we're doing that, and yeah, it's really neat. And actually, for those who, like I mentioned a little earlier, he's a ex NBA All Star, and he still does put on like clinics and stuff for those who are interested in basketball and learning how to shoot better. He's also coaching still for Division One. I totally forgetting which team right now, right now. But but yeah, um, but yeah. This, and you can see this is just kind of fun, and this is why I really do want to expand on this, and I think it'd be kind of fun to eventually do like a social hub with the sports theme, because obviously just doing shooting the baskets is fun. This can be adapted to even other types of sports that have, the shot put, javelin, something like that. Obviously, football or soccer is something that's kind of easy to do in Game Maker here. Um, and so having sort of like this activity social hub that has these different sports mini games to play, I think would be really cool. Not to mention, you can have like a lot of this sort of educational um, material included in there too, like these NFTs, like how I mentioned these actually work now. So I can show you like this. Oh, that one. It's the wrong one. Okay. So so yeah, here's like the ticket that I mentioned. So you can kind of see, and these commemorate different pivotal sports moments and things like that that have happened in history, or different players. Um, and so I think it would be kind of fun to have a social hub that has like some of the different things about some of these older athletes and such. It's not all of them are not playing anymore, who these guys associate with, but is only so many people hold certain records. Like Mark here is on one of the few on the list of the few people who have actually won the contest more than once, let alone have been inside in this 50 40 90 club. And this is what I was mentioning earlier about shooting better than Jordan. I mean, that's that 90%, because he was so 90% within the key. This guy was hitting, 40% three-point shooting. He's hitting. Um, it's just amazing. And so only so many people have really done that. And so it's not so much about like who's the new athlete versus old athlete. It's more of like who's accomplished and who wants to come into the metaverse with us. So don't be surprised if you see some Mark Price shoes that make you move really fast in the future here. So, or like a Roy Jones glove that has a lot of damage on it. All in the works. So, but yeah, and there is plans to make these NFTs, something more tradable. Like right now, and this is one of the things too. Just another side note is like, I found the value of just JPEGs as NFTs. Things like the Sandbox are a perfect example. It's like everyone takes for granted, oh, that's just a collectible sports thing or whatever. It has to be an NFT, or else it's no image in the Sandbox. And so you have to have that done. And so for some of us, that's super easy. Oh, we just go to OpenSea and just da 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 da. But see, not everyone knows that. So these other little marketable skills for viewers and listeners out there too, who are thinking about ways to kind of make money with metaverse stuff. There's going to be a lot of companies that are just going to need someone to turn things to NFTs, because they don't know how to do it. They're not going to want to do it. You're like, sure, I can make that JPEG into something that can show up in the Sandbox or Decentraland or something. Not a problem. Yes, exactly like the apes. Apes is so yeah, something to keep in mind. Yeah, his cards are worth decent amount of money, especially if you have like the 94 or 93 seasons. Here, things like that. They're pretty good, and And yeah, this and like I said, he's still very active. There's a he actually posted something on his Twitter not long ago of him still shooting, and it's just like, dude, this guy still just doesn't miss. It's like amazing. Um, but that is why they're pros after all, because they can do that really well. Uh, but but yeah, so these kind of things, very intricate, very important stuff that has to be done if you actually want to make anything in the game maker for any kind of experience that's worth playing. And honestly, I find it fun. Like I know that, like I said, some people playing in Game Maker might drive them insane because there's no scripting. Um, and for me, it almost feels like a game within a game because you're like, how am I gonna figure out how to get that ball to launch, that thing to count, um, this thing to disappear then reappear. Um, and yeah, it's gonna be really cool stuff as time goes on. Because I mean, as we're already seeing, like some of the game maker programmers in that sense are amazing. I mean, like how Cyber Dragon, obviously, amazing stuff. It's like, and they'll test this puzzle factor, and so yeah, they've mastered to some degree the whatever degree this puzzle factor that allows you to have so much fun with that sort of magic aspect of like, how did you get this program to do that? And and yeah, so this is, like I mentioned, like having the knowledge to do these kinds of things, to lay out all those switches, to do all the calls and this and that. It's important stuff. Um, Actually, let me go ahead and bring up, since we're here, the one that did get entered into the game jam for the sports thing. Okay, where are you now? There we are. Okay, this one is more simple in its design, a little more classic in its approach. That there's a trivia quest, and you got to earn your ticket into the arena here. And so and you can see this is where some of those assets like the ball, the trophy, the platforms all came in. And so the object is essentially to make all these baskets and collect the trophy over here. And so you can see how the trophy is encased and the ball's encased, and these are for those finer points like that happen on the GMAE show, where you don't want people to pick up your ball too soon, and break your logic, and like how everything over here is blocked in because I don't want people going up to the stands and jumping off of this and that to try to do that over there, and so a lot of little things like that. Let's load this guy up and see how it goes. So how you see we have, well, would we like to register for the shootout? We're going to say, yes, we do. And it's going to give us our new objective. It's going to say, go talk to our teammates. And so this is one of those, so of course I know the answers. Of course I know the sequence. And so this is where the NFTs came in as our trivia. Because you can see Mark Price 3-point shootout contest winner 1993, 1994, Player of the Year, or ACC. So these things, and so we want to find our Collectix, and we can go here too. Do we have our Mark Price shootout ticket? Nope, not yet. Gets to stepping. So we have our gatekeeper there, and like how this, for instance, is going to be one of our teammates, and I'm going to try to talk to them. They're saying, no, hey, did you talk to other teammate yet? So there is a sequence that have this set up. I did go through and have these guys say different things because there's so many of them. But once again, I didn't overcrowd the stadium because of just different people's system configurations can make things go really slow when you get a lot of people on there. And so one of our trivia, what number did Mark Price wear when he was tired in Cleveland? The answer's right on your back, 25 there. Totally giving away the answers for, because this is in the draft gallery somewhere. probably way back there now. And so, first NBA, 93. Go over here. Okay, Land Coast Conference Player of the Year, 84-85. All right, on we go. Up to the top. You can see I left the clue clusters right next to a lot of the Eclectics teammates there. Second point is 94. And then we got the 50, 40, 90 club. And so now he's going to say, get the ticket, careful passing by the rivals section. And this is just, I just had fun with this because I could. So I just want to, there's a combat element if you really want to sit there and fight all of them. That's the rivals. I was actually gonna try to, didn't have enough time. I had a band hammer. It was gonna allow you to equip here to knock out the rowdy rivals with the band hammer, get them out of the arena. So I'm gonna grab my Eclectics ticket, pick that up, go right over here, go back in, gonna try to get me my trophy. The doorman says, "All right, good luck." Blows up. Then we are ready. Try to make this thing, and you know, this can be frustrating. It could be real easy. This first ball, I intentionally made it kind of move and wobble. So, see how it's kind of dribbling on its own. All right, finally went there. So, you get the second ball, and yeah, I made it so you have to you make it so you can't just keep spawning balls, that the right ball has to be in the right spot, making sure that it goes right in. Be pain. So that's why you see me doing it, playing a little soccer there, even improvising. This ended up being a little more challenging than I even thought it was going to be when making it sometimes. All right, okay. And then yes, I have my fireworks to let me know that I did in fact get through the goal. Little things like this. Oh man, see? Oh jeez, yeah, there it goes. And yes, I have to go get that ball, come back. And there's little things like that is why I didn't actually end up putting a timer on this, because I can see how that could be insanely frustrating if you have these random back and forth defenders going on, and then the physics kicks the ball across the court on you. Else there would have been a timer on this too. So I'm just curious if anyone else. Oh, I didn't make that. And anyone else is used to playing with their y-axis inverted or not, and has had to retrain their brain to jump back and forth between the two. So Sandbox has definitely helped me do that. I like to think it's increased my brain power in that respect. But I did get them all. I now collect the trophy. Now we're done. So, yeah, cool. Yeah, I'm definitely good to know that I'm not alone on that one. So, but it has come in handy, I have to admit. There's more games that aren't allowing you to invert that y-axis all the time. Yeah, this was one of those game jam entries, and this is where some of those assets came from. Some of the Eclectics ones that were approved there, including the ball and such. And this was pretty fun to make. And so I wanted to keep it manageable and easy enough to kind of get done, but I also wanted it to be kind of fun, learn a little bit of stuff, have a little bit of a challenge, but not make it too insanely hard. Because that's one of the things that I've noticed that is possible. Something even like this is you can probably make difficulty levels by setting, say, the defender timing to be different, or faster, things like that. And so there's a little bit of a balance you gotta do. Well, let me go back up in here just so we can kind of roam around. Um, so I just kind of zipped through the whole thing. So I was kind of expecting some players to just kind of wander too. And, you know, once again, try to keep it populated, but not get too, overloaded with too many people. And as you can see, like these guys don't acknowledge me as a rival yet, because I have to get that last quest completed, and then they'll start attacking me. Although I'm pretty sure I can just beat them up right now. I don't think I shut that off. I have the golden Lizzie, so I had to use them. Yeah, so why not? So, um, but yeah, this is my little arena. Um, yeah, pretty fun stuff. Cause yeah, I think at first I did have a lot more activity going on inside here, but how I noticed that even my computer was kind of going, "Are you sure about that?" And I have a fairly comparable machine compared to King of Crypto there, like he was mentioning. Uh, so if mine's chugging along, that NVIDIA 900 series is really gonna hate everything else. Um, so yeah, keep that in mind too for those of you developing on more robust systems. You know, we're used to getting 100 and something frames per second. Not everyone else is. So, yeah, and I'll definitely be tweeting more about some of the Collectic stuff as time goes on because they do have some neat things. It's a pretty neat platform that they built in terms of their own proprietary digital collectible thing, and this is kind of why they're interested in the NFT migration or inclusion actually is what I'd say, um, because they're almost doing their own versions of a type of digital NFT kind of presence. That's what I thought was very innovative. They have their own sort of like validating system for people with this actual physical ticket and stuff like that. It's really neat things. Yeah, I guess is any other questions maybe anyone has out there in terms of Voxedit, Game Maker, anything like that at all? Yeah, I know it's probably fairly late for a lot of us here. So, but I'm wondering. I know I probably should end pretty soon myself. But yeah, no, this has been fun. It's always fun, kind of hanging out and just creating together and sharing what we're doing. It's I think that obviously there's a lot of mutual interest in the sandbox for a lot of different reasons. Um, and I think that we all kind of add to each other's inspiration to some degree. Like how any great art is a collaborative effort. So no one person, generally speaking, does it all. So so it is really neat, really fun, and I think it is so cool that there's almost 24 hours of Sandbox material at this point. I don't think anyone else is streaming any Sandbox right now on Twitch, or else we could raid them. But yeah, I mean, thanks everyone for hanging out here. As time goes on, my streams will get a little more refined too. I do hope to also have some of the games integrated and things like that. And I definitely will have some giveaways too. I've been kind of getting some things ready for that. And there's some projects too that I'll be sharing with the group here first, which I think that you'll enjoy as well. So, but yeah, it's cool. I think that yeah, this has been a lot of fun. I'm glad to help, and once again too, if there is any assets you guys see that I've done or anyone else has done, you want me to kind of say, hey, how do they do that? I give my best crack at it. Or if there's something that you're wondering about, I'd be happy to try to help with that too. I've done a lot more with Voxedit than Game Maker. I'm pretty good with Game Maker. Well, I'm definitely no Cyber Dragon. So, um, but I definitely could figure things out one way or another if I got enough time. I just end up spending a lot more time in Voxedit. Especially with the Creator Fund efforts and all. And but I definitely am going to be doing a lot of stuff in Game Maker as well, especially now that we're getting closer and closer to UGC being open for everyone, and making it easier now for us to publish, custom assets in the draft gallery. So, and actually on that note, maybe what I'll do, even though it's kind of broken right now, because I haven't done everything, um, I'll go ahead and upload my test facility to oops, um, to the draft gallery, and I'll just update it as time goes on. So that way, if anyone in there wants to go ahead and start messing with some of the assets that I got going on there, I totally just did miss it, didn't I? Starting to get a little tired of myself. That's kind of why I'm misclicking. Kind of joking. This past week, I've kind of been on normal people time, as I've been saying. Um, and that's because I recently, my wife and I got a couple of new kittens, and they just recently got spayed and neutered, so I had to kind of be up for normal time to make the appointments. That I kind of just got synced up to and see that's why, being tired at 2 a.m., maybe crashing to 10, 11 is normal people to me. So, because before that, I'd probably go to sleep about 8 in the morning, something like that, get up around 4, then be up till maybe 12 p.m. the next day. I don't know. It just kind of depends. But there's only a couple of things I want to do before I publish this. I want to make these guys, like the equipment, grabbable, for instance. So. Why am I missing it? Oh my god. So wrong spot. Oops. Okay. There we go. Yeah, thanks, got a minute, and Keeper Top Shot for hanging out. If you guys haven't left yet, for hanging out here, and of course everyone else too. There's a fair amount of viewers here, everyone. Thank you very much for hanging out. Even the lurkers, and especially lurkers. It's cool. It's fun having those numbers. So, yeah, let's make these pickable. So you might actually be able to equip it, because they're kind of fun. Okay, that's all of them. I don't think I saved it with this one. Okay, I gotta turn some of these animations on. But yeah, I will definitely publish this in a moment here. Okay, this one. Yeah, try and put some more interesting animations as a default. And I think as time goes on, what I'll do is I will create some switches so that some of these animations can kind of be turned on and off, and so you can kind of check them out, different ones on the fly. But for now, I'll just publish it, so at least it'll be in the draft gallery, and so if anyone wants to, they can go get a closer look get rid of this guy because that doesn't need to be there. So I don't know what that was there for. Probably just a misclick. I'm sure a lot of those who done some GM work have like, whoa, I accidentally put a block way on the other side of the map for some reason. I guess I can turn on some of these too. Oops. Component. And I guess so I could just kind of just explain what I'm doing here for those who haven't done this in GameMaker. I'm adding a component to display the NFT details when the player interacts with it. So when you run up to it and press E, it'll show the information, kind of like it did in the other one, where it tells you a little bit about what is on there. And in this case, it's some of the trivia related to the NFT, and some of it's just identification. But I figure I should put it there before publishing. Just realized I have to go back and do that too. Important detail. So I have, so I'm selecting interact. So when you go up to the NFT, hit E, it'll show you there. But then I also wanted to show the NFT image information, not the actual frames information, because that's where the target details asset versus the NFT image. If you have asset, it's going to talk about the NFT frame there, which is like, what to do? It's a frame. So, so I'm setting that up. As you can see, I'm fairly used to the quick, tedious actions of setting them all the same. So I'll just give it a test roll. And I'll move the spawn point too. And yeah, feel free to launch basketballs, of course. Spinning, great. Oh, I'll move that down so you can actually use it. Oh no! Okay, now I gotta make that was pickable. Collectible, that's what I need to do. Duh. Okay. See, getting late for me too. Quote unquote. Don't worry, pretty soon I'll be able to do the all night thing. so those where it's morning, don't worry, I could be your morning entertainment at some point here. I'm usually up, like I said, I'm used to seeing the sun come up a lot of times. So I'm sure a lot of other creators here will also attest to where there's different shortcuts for moving your viewport in different programs, and so it's like you kind of like cross over sometimes. You're alt clicking and right clicking when you really kind of just need to use your WASD keys, things like that. Starting point somewhere over here for now. I don't think you can get stuck anywhere here, but let me know if anyone goes and tests it out and you get stuck. I think I checked all the little spots that exist so far. I don't think you'll get stuck, but if you do, let me know. I want to change these to collectible. That's the one. there. A couple left. So let's try that again. Alright. Creepy statue, check. Power orb column, check. Alright. Chemistry set, chemistry. Alright, pick that up. Uh-oh. Did that just break? Did that just break? I think it might have broke on me. But, yep. Game Maker crashed on me. I hope I saved it. I hope I saved more than I did. Let's see. But, you know, we were mentioning repetition earlier, you know? Does get you quicker. Going back, redoing it. Yeah, picking that up did crash it though. And I didn't save it. So, no! Classic story, right? Remember to save often. So. Okay. Let's see how fast I can redo all of it. Like there's a whole bunch anyways, I'm not really too worried about it. It's just kind of funny. Generally speaking, I don't get that many crashes. That's kind of why I'm not too... You didn't see me too on that right away, because... I mean, it's not that common for me, honestly. I'm going to save it right now, too, just to be sure. Because I got 2 done. Oh... Oh yeah, that's right, did all those NFTs too. Oh great, this is getting myself even more depressed. I was kidding. Oh. Bring this guy up. This looks like it's inside there. Done. Animation. Scanning. Gonna save again. Alright. Okay, what else? Okay, I'll turn this guy on. You're on now. Okay. Now let's do some NFTs. Okay. At least all that's there still. Interact, NFT image. Component, image. Interact. But yeah, these are the things you have to do. when you're displaying some NFTs, it's not hard. Just the more you got, the more you have to set up and kind of get lined up and get all this information there. And actually, usually, I don't know why I didn't do this to begin with, but like how a lot of other builders will say, you set the one up, Control D, and then you get the other one set up so that way, you just have to change. Like for instance, with the NFTs, the URL for your actual NFT, so it's just copy paste and your other address, and you're good to go. This is kind of like the long way. I think it was mostly because when I was doing this, I was really kind of looking at things from more of a design point of view. I was just trying to kind of get things set up symmetrically. I wasn't too worried about the display and interaction point yet. So now that that's done, it's saved, and let's go ahead and test that. It should be good now. I don't know, whatever. I can leave that there for now. I don't think anyone cares if they start on top of the pirate ship. Or the pirate fort, I mean. Okay. Hey, didn't break this time. That's good. Okay. Alright. Looking good. Oops. Oh, I didn't mean to do that. See, you can tell I'm used to other games where you hit tab for your inventory. I just tabbed for inventory. It's like, no, this isn't PlayerUnknown's Battleground. Something like that. I have to hit I. I is the way to go. Okay. Alright. With the tentacle spear. That's pretty sweet. There actually is a Aztec obsidian axe that's supposed to go with this thing, but that's not one of those assets that are kind of clogged and backed up there. So for now, the Blaze Games tentacle spear is going to have to do. But cool. I wanted to make that at least equipable for anyone who's interested in checking it out. So now I think I'm pretty satisfied for that for now. Like I said, I'm going to be adding more stuff later. But I'm going to go ahead and publish this right now. Wait, let me do a better front scene, Something like this. See how that goes. But I forgot what I was going to call it. Let's call it, testing lounge. Okay, let's see what happens. Alright, so that's there now. So in the draft gallery, will be on page 1 for probably about 5 seconds, and it's off. No, I was kidding. But you can check it out. There's even got one basket shooting thing going on here. Don't have the score yet. Don't have an indicator of the ball going in, but at least the balls go away now. So they have that. We have that for now. You can feel free to test out. Oh yeah, I just realized I forgot to do those NFTs right there. Guess I'll do a quick little update. So. Okay, for reals that time. Alrighty. Well, it's been going for almost 2.5 hours. Doesn't seem like that long. It's amazing how time flies, so to speak. Um, guess I could have done a better front page shot, but whatever. Like I said, I'm going to be updating this again soon with some more features, more fun stuff, and probably some underground. Look at that! Look at all that real estate just not being used. Uh, so, but you know, get quite a lot done on one by one sand or one by one land lot. So it'll be cool. Gonna have some fun. And like I said, I'll definitely have some little activities on here. Like one of the things I do plan on adding is, you know, obviously we have some different characters there, and like here it's kind of more of like a museum, like it was mentioned earlier. They're gonna kind of just be sitting there, but some of these other places, I'll have them interact as if they're enemy soldier, or enemy fighters, things like that. Um, what time is it here right now? For me, it is gonna be 2:45 in the morning. Um, so it's just still kind of early to me. It's just like amazing to me, going like, wow, you're kind of tired right now. I'm just not used to this. It's usually like my prime time. It's usually like lunchtime to me, you know. So, but I do kind of adjust my schedule as needed, because you know, for the most part I've been in business for myself for a while here. So like there's only so many times I actually have to like go meet people physically somewhere. Um, and I do tend to work with people from all over. So it's like if I have to be up, you know, real late, real early, I do it, whatever. But for the most part, I kind of just make my own schedule. And like I said, I'm always kind of been more into night, right, like more of a night person, anyways. So it's kind of cool. And then plus, like how we're seeing, it's like there's definitely not as much competition stream wise. So that works out pretty well in terms of the how things have evolved. but uh, but yeah, no, it's definitely fun times, just hanging out here with Sam Fam, and just being able to share everything, and interacting with the chat obviously is a huge part of what makes this all fun for everyone, I think. Um, and that's something that I will, like I said, refine what's going on my stream a lot more here. I'll integrate it with the chat, so it'll be displayed as well on the screen. Um, and then yeah, I'm definitely planning on installing some of the games and stuff like that eventually too, for the Twitch chat, because you know I think that's just fun. Especially once I get into some giveaway stuff, and I'll probably do some giveaways in some conventional ways and not so conventional ways. I think that like those, especially those of us who are, you can tell, are always here, always watching. It's like I'm just gonna give you guys stuff, you know, like rather than have do the wheel and all this other stuff like that. That'll be for like the first time viewers and such. We'll do that. But for, you know, all you guys have been here for a while, you know, I'm planning on hooking you up. Oh hey, speaking of first timer, Pokoi I9. What's this? This is the game maker for Sandbox. The Sandbox game, which is blockchain based metaverse where you can build your own game experiences of different types. And if you own land, when it's time, you can upload your experience for other people to play and monetize. Um, there's other types of potential monetization that comes into play for these assets. All these little things are created in Voxedit, um, which is your free software, and eventually that will be open for sale for general users to put their items for sale on that marketplace. And yeah, so I was kind of just giving a little breakdown of this little testing area, which I did just publish to the drafts gallery, as it's called in Game Maker. So all these things can be checked out and looked at, and because eventually they will be in the market. So yeah, well, one of them, this one is in the market. So for those who are interested at all, and maybe even acquiring the arcade cabinet here, you know, check it out there. Um, oh wow, That's funny. It was still I didn't change that one. I changed that one when I first got here. Didn't save it. Forgot to do that too. So now it's gonna be set to playing. I'm gonna upload this again. So um, I'm gonna make it a little bit better. A little better front page screenshot here this time, at least. Okay, let's save that. But yeah. Either way, so yeah, if you were interested, hit the wrong button. So if you are interested in the classic arcade cabinet, you can at least get a chance to see what it looks like in the game render. Because yeah, it's very handy, and I think that I can't recommend enough those who are creators just to go ahead and start working on your own demonstration area. I mean, you can see like how Voxel Blaze and Blaze Games has something for their swords and things like that, and I think they're doing one for their cars too, if I'm not mistaken. At least that's kind of what it looks like, or they're using their Game Jam entry as their sort of demo for some of their cars, which is really neat. But yeah, so if you do make stuff, and same with in terms of game maker builder, it's start making your demo of like, hey, I know how to do this mechanic of launching the balls. Here's the mechanic of checkpoints. Here's the mechanic of this, because people who are looking to hire are going to want to see that. So you might not necessarily have to make an entire game by yourself as a game maker builder, but if you can demonstrate these are the different techniques I can do, and this is how I can put them together in some kind of demonstrative fashion, I think that will come in really handy too. Okay. Cool. But alright, well, it's been about 2.5 hours. Let me see, is there anyone else that is doing Sandbox anything right now? Probably not, huh? That's how we got in this place to begin with. We were the last standing. We're like, we shall carry on even further. And we did. Let's see. Nope. Alright, well, this is motivation for me, next time, be on my own time again. Watch the sun come up over here. So, and those in the morning, can bridge into, when Rock starts his daily 18 hours of streaming. So, a lot of you are Rock 808 fans as well, and that man's a machine. He's a streaming machine. I don't understand how he's able to do what he does. It's amazing. So surprised he hasn't started up again already. So he's just constantly crypto streaming. It's amazing. But yeah, thank you everyone. I think I'm gonna go and call it a stream. So like I said, hopefully you can find something to do in the next 15 minutes before Rock comes back on. But yeah, it's been fun, and I definitely plan on streaming more, and once again, next time if there's something you want me to go into in terms of techniques of Voxedit, exploring any game maker things, anything like that, feel free, or even if you have any questions of about, say, getting into the creators fund, or experiences that you might be curious about, I'd be happy to share what I can, because it has been a lot of fun, and that's one of the things that I could say. I've only met fun and easygoing people while working with the Sandbox in general. That's one of the things that's been really cool, is that every cell leader that I've worked with, everyone who's staff that I've had to interact with, has all been pleasant. Everyone's very professional. and I could see how things are getting done pretty well. It's actually a pretty monumental task that a lot of the staff in particular it has to do, and I think it's really cool. And I'm glad for me personally, just like how I'm sure a lot of you echo this, I'm glad that I found the sandbox. I'm glad that I followed the hunch to say, hey, I want to get a little more involved, because I was watching, Alex and Joe going like, hey, yeah, this is looking really cool, and I want to be involved a little more directly, and so that is what inspired me to try for the Creator Fund back in the day. There, it's been a while now. I didn't realize it was. I guess it would have been December 2020 is would have been about the time I started, and I'm just like, wow, it's really been a little while now. I'm just like, whoa, hey, um, and but yeah, it's been really cool. And I know it's all just starting now to really get going. So anyone feeling any um, impatience or just kind of apprehension or almost even anxiety about like, oh, is what should I do? Don't worry, just wait. It's all starting. It's all getting going. It's all gonna snowball, and you're already early. So even if, like how I mentioned, it's been almost a year and a half for me in terms of any official capacity, um, like it's still early now. Like, so even though I have that over a year experience on that, it's the UGC, the user generated content hasn't gone live yet. Landowners haven't been able to upload to their land yet. All these crucial features of what is the most attractive from a player standpoint, from a business model standpoint, haven't even gone live yet, and the market cap for Sandbox is already billions of dollars. So anyone who might be listening who's kind of new to Sandbox or hasn't really checked it out yet, like just know that there's a lot of liquidity behind it. Like I would say a rug pull is impossible at this point, so don't even worry about something like that. Um, and just the secondary market in the NFTs is already worth many millions of dollars. So it's a very strong economy. It's still early. Sand's probably still going to increase in price over time because there really isn't that big of a supply overall in terms of the grand scheme of things. Um, so you never know where it's going to go. So so just stay at it. Um, Keep making those voxel creations. Keep brainstorming on the game maker stuff. It will pay off. And that's one of the things that I can bring even more messages of hope is that I've already can see these companies who are going to be in desperate need of creators. So not just artists in terms of voxel creation and animation, but also the game maker especially, and then also things like media support, um, and other like technical support in that sense of like who understands the space of the metaverse and cryptocurrency at the same time as it relates to game production. That's a pretty specific set of skills that I think a lot of people who are here now listening have. Even if you're not already involved with the studio, it's like these are the things that are going to be valued by some very, you know, well-known companies, shall I say. So don't be surprised. Let alone like the independent endeavors who might have seed funding from different independent sources. So, so yeah, just keep at it. It's my best advice to anyone who's really just getting into it or has been into it. Um, and yeah, be nice to yourself as an artist and a creator. So I know that's kind of weird. Most times, most creators beat themselves up, and I'm here to tell you there's another way. So, but thank you everyone, and I will see you soon. If not tomorrow, I'm sure I'll probably stream again sometime this week. So, thank you, and good night, everyone, or good morning, evening, afternoon. See you soon.